Hello everybody and welcome to this new video on the project of building a Piper J3. You can't see it here, it's a Piper J3 from Hacker and the conversion to RC. So I've done some progress. I've done the two sides of the fuselage. I think you can see them here, yes. Well, how I did it, I built it of course on top of the plan, and then instead of taking it off and building the other side, I covered it with more plastic. I think I did it like this, kind of like a sandwich almost. And I built the other one right on top of it so that it looks, or that it's almost the same, and it is actually quite accurate, like not accurate in itself but accurate within as in comparison to it to the other side. So good with that. Now more interesting or more challenging for me at least is the decision about the electronics. So I'm putting here, let's see if you can see it. Yes, here I'm already thinking where I'm going to put in the servos. These will be the servos for the tail surfaces, so I was thinking initially of putting them side by side as I see on some models. I've got two servos, but I think that's going to then interfere with the push rods going to the back, so I'm now thinking about putting them one in front of another, so kind of inline servos. One would go to the elevator, one would go to the rudder. So I think with this inline arrangement that would be okay. And I have to think also how I'm going to hold them, at what height. More or less I can guess that height, because I want it to be, if I look at the plan or even at the fuselage side, this is where the elevator would be, so somehow at this height, so in the middle of the cab, so you will see it probably from outside. So that's one of the considerations that I'm going on. Another consideration related to the servos is about how to connect the aileron servos. I think I'm going to get a Y cable, and I have to figure that out basically. I think a Y cable is probably then the best way. Then what I have done, I've taken the ESC, this is the ESC, and I plugged it into the motor. The ESC I have calibrated it. I think it was the Oz3, can't remember how your name, and Tim the Playman, you were mentioning that I should do a calibration of the ESC, and I've managed to do it. And now it is much smoother with the motor, which is very good, so thank you for that tip. I hadn't even thought of it. And another, what I think is good news, is the propeller, or the shaft, because this motor turns like this, and I was thinking I need to squeeze this into the nose, and it didn't actually fit. I was already considering getting maybe a different motor, but then I found this other piece inside the bag of things, and I believe, I'm convinced, this goes in here, and like this I can screw it onto here. There's some screws for that, and like this I can actually connect the propeller here, and like this it does fit. So I'm not sure why it's done, but maybe it's just to have the option that you maybe becomes a pusher aeroplane or a tractor, right, or puller, I don't know, but I'm glad I found that out before buying another motor. And what I've also tried out, I've got this propeller that I got also. I've got another one. I've got actually two more. I've got this other one that I got, which is, the hole is too big, so I'm not even taking it out of the bag. This one fits in nicely. I have to kind of screw it on, and it holds well. And then I've got a huge, a 3-bladed, for which the shaft I think would also be okay. But I think there's going to be too much, so I'll probably start with this smaller 2-bladed one. So I'm okay with that one. So that's basically the plan going forward. So I'll update you when I have something. Time for another update, and important, here is the fuselage put together. I think it's quite well aligned. It's actually quite nice to work with these 3mm square strips. I put in the servo holder. I've got the servos over there, so I won't try them in now, but they did fit, so I think that's okay. One challenge is always to do the nose part. I think it's kind of aligned, not completely maybe, but I think it's going to be fine. And on the plan it wasn't completely evident how to do it, so it might be a little bit off to the left, I have the feeling, but we'll see how that goes. But overall a straightforward build, and nice. I like the part of building with balsa. What's been a lot more challenging has been then adapting to put the motor in. So here's the motor. I already put in this piece, and this is where the propeller actually goes. I have got it here, so the propeller goes actually here, and I took it off now for ease of working with it. It's challenging to bend the cables. I think you can see it the cables, they come out of the motor, and then I have to bend them really quite drastically. There's 90 degrees to make them fit. And this is ply, it's the original part, and I made a backing of balsa to get it to the right distance. So it's being a bit of a challenge, but that's part of the fun, of course, as always. What I have to do now, I have to take it all apart, stick the ply from the model into the nose like this somehow, and then figure out how to put the motor in. It doesn't fit in now quite because the motor might be a little bit too big, so the motor holder, so I need probably to make also some holes into the walls of the nose block. So that's going to be maybe a little bit of a complication, but I think it's going to be fine. I hope it doesn't go through the wall, so it won't stick out too much, or at all if possible. So that's going to be then the next step. So gluing this piece in and knowing that this can then fit in, and then using the nuts and bolts. I was getting some nuts and bolts. Let's see if you can see it. Some washers and some nuts there to get the motor in place. And then once I have that in place, I might even try to do like a test run just to make sure that the servos can be connected. Try to see where the ESC would go and the receiver, because it all has to fit in here, which is not much space. And on top of it, I'm thinking of putting the battery also somehow in here. So it's going to be quite crowded here in the nose part of and the cabin of the plane, but I have the feeling that it will fit. Like, it's not such big pieces, and I think I do have space there. So that's the update so far, and when I have it set up, let's see if I can give you an update. So time to wrap up this video. As you can see, I've managed to put on the motor. I've assembled it. Let's see if you can see it in there. I hope you can. I've put on labels on the cables, on the 3 cables, to know to which one to connect them then on the ESC, as I did test, and it turns in the right direction. So actually I can show you that. And as you can see, at least for me, this feels very crowded. Like, there are a lot of things in there. So we have here the receiver. Maybe you can see it better this other side. There's the receiver. I have the ESC on this other side. There's the ESC and the battery in there, and then I have 2 servos. So this it's from my perspective very crowded, very big elements. I'm not used to this, and in terms of weight, it's already weighing, I think, 150 grams, which is kind of more, or as much as maybe my other models weigh. And there's still a lot to come, right? There's still the wings. I still need to get, I think I'll go with a Y cable to get the control of the aileron. So I'm going to need yet another cable that then will go into the wings to 2 more servos that I'm still waiting for. And other than that, maybe some small modifications. I broke a board a little bit when putting in the servo. They're not glued in, just put them in there. And the biggest work was actually assembling the motor mount. I think I need to take it off anyhow, probably. And I might need to put in another one. I'll see, but I think I'll figure that out. That's not too difficult. And there's still some elements missing here. Let's say from the engine cowling, the top part, this is also missing. I'm going to leave it like that so that I can have access to the cables, and then also the actual cowling is also needed. So let's see if I can show you something. So are you there? Yeah. So let's see the engine. Not turning, is it? Because I haven't plugged in the battery, right? Like, that should help if I plug the battery in. So let me put it in. Oh, now the battery actually fell out, but in the future it should have some kind of a hatch there holding it. So now let's see now. I have the feeling it has quite a lot of pull, which is good, but at the same time it's a lot of weight. Let's see if you can see the servos. I just put in some papers there. This should be the rudder. Is it moving? You can't see it because the paper has fallen out. And this will be the elevator. That one maybe you can see. So electronics wise seems to be working. I'm happy about that. But I'm not sure if it's going to be enough power or not to pull the whole thing forward. As I say, it's very, very heavy. But good progress, I think. Next step is going to be the landing gear. The landing gear is going to come in here, but I'll tell you about it in the next video. In any case, as always, thank you everybody for watching, and I'll see you next time.